the warning before dawn. Sergeant Daniel Mercer stepped deeper into the command center, the hum of servers and surveillance systems filling the silence. Screens showed London waking up. Buses moving, commuters walking, cafe lights turning on one by one. Normal.
Rerouting now,
Too
ETA
normal.
is 2 minutes.
And
Good.
Mercer
Monitor
had
for
learned long
secondary
ago
threats.
that danger often hid inside normal. Captain Ward zoomed one of the feeds. Anonymous source claims internal knowledge of motorcade timing, she said. Mercer frowned. Internal, as in staff level? Possibly. Or intercepted communications. Neither option was comforting. Across another screen, the motorcade preparation team ran
Target
final
acquisition
checks.
confirmed. Uploading
Drivers,
coordinates now. Copy that.
route
Standing by for
coordinators,
extraction.
Metropolitan Police liaisons. Everything looked textbook perfect, which made Mercer trust it less. Because real danger rarely looked messy at first. Any chatter from known extremist channels? Mercer asked. Nothing
Monitor
credible,
Ulsters, report
Ward
any
replied,
escalation.
which is also concerning.
Deploy units
Silence
to the
again.
perimeter.
The worst threats were the ones that didn't announce themselves. Meanwhile, in a private preparation chamber, Catherine adjusted the
It's
sleeve
getting
of her
late,
coat
Grandma.
while her
Let's
aide
head
reviewed
home.
the day's schedule.
Yes, dear. Thank you for
3
being
hospital
here.
family
Always.
meetings, veteran awards presentation,
Okay, team, confirm
then
your
foundation
sections.
speech.
North section clear,
The aide said
210
softly.
South is good, no
Catherine
issues.
nodded.
East clear, west
Are
secure.
security comfortable with venue layout? Yes, ma'am. Multiple safe corridors, reinforced entry zones. Catherine gave a small smile. Good. Today is about them, not us. Down another corridor, Princess and finished reviewing briefing notes. A young guard opened the door for her. Thank you, and said simply. The guard blinked, surprised. She always noticed staff. Always. Because and believed leadership meant seeing everyone. Back in command, Mercer leaned closer to one monitor. Run thermal on secondary parking grid. Ward raised an eyebrow. Looking for something specific? No, Mercer said quietly. Just looking. Thermal scan loaded. Cars. Delivery vans. Maintenance vehicles. Then, one van showed 2 heat signatures. Not moving. Engine off. But occupants inside. For over 30 minutes. Mercer's instincts flared again. Flag that vehicle. Ward typed instantly. Cross-checking plates. Seconds passed. Then she exhaled slowly. Plate registered, but assigned to a scrapped vehicle 6 months ago. Mercer felt that cold certainty settle in his chest. There it was. Something real. Notify London advance teams. Quietly, he said. Ward nodded. No public disruption. Exactly. If it was nothing, panic would hurt civilians. If it was something, time mattered. Outside Windsor, dark clouds rolled across the sky faster now. Weather forecast had predicted light rain. But this looked heavier. More sudden. At 7:10 a.m., the first motorcade vehicle engine started. Low controlled power. Like predators waking. Inside the vehicle staging zone, Mercer did final visual inspection. Driver steady. Officers focused. Routes confirmed. Everything perfect. Still, that feeling. As Catherine approached the vehicle, she paused briefly, looking toward the horizon. And joined her. Storms coming, and said. Yes, Catherine replied softly. But storms always pass. And gave a knowing look. Yes. But only if people hold steady through them. Mercer watched them enter the vehicle. And in that moment, the weight of duty pressed harder than usual. Not because they were royalty. But because millions of people saw stability through them. Radio chatter confirmed. Motorcade rolling. The gates opened. Vehicles moved forward in smooth formation. Precision. Timing. Protection layers invisible to public eye. Mercer moved to secondary escort vehicle. Before entering, he glanced once more at the sky. Thunder rolled faintly in distance. His radio crackled again. Mercer, update. That flagged van just powered on. Mercer froze. Location. 2 streets from secondary route merge. The storm above London darkened. And somewhere inside the growing traffic, something had just begun moving. Mercer spoke calmly into radio. All units. Increase passive alert level. No public signal. His hand rested near his communication mic. Not shaking. Not nervous. Just ready. Because today,
Perimeter breach in Sector
something
7.
unseen was
Reroute
testing
Team
them.
Alpha.
Rerouting
Testing
now, ETA is
planning.
2 minutes.
Good.
Testing
Monitor for
leadership.
secondary threats.
Testing duty. And Mercer made one silent promise as the convoy merged onto the main roadway. No matter what happens today, the Crown will not stand alone. The convoy moved through London like a quiet current through a restless sea. Traffic parted naturally. Pedestrians paused respectfully. Morning light reflected across polished black vehicles. Inside the lead escort car, Sergeant Daniel Mercer monitored 3 channels at once: Royal Protection, Metropolitan Police Coordination, and Internal Secure Line. All normal. Almost too normal. Traffic density slightly higher than predicted, came a voice over comms. Cause? Mercer asked. Minor train delays. Extra commuters in street traffic. Mercer nodded silently. Random disruptions could create unpredictable crowd behavior. And unpredictable crowds created vulnerability windows. Behind him, the second vehicle carried Catherine and Anne. Inside, the atmosphere was calm, almost surprisingly so. Catherine reviewed final speech notes, but her attention drifted occasionally to the streets outside. And noticed, nerves? And asked, Not nerves, Catherine replied quietly. Responsibility. And gave a small approving nod. Yes, that feeling never goes away. Outside, Mercer's vehicle approached the secondary route merge. His eyes moved constantly: mirrors, rooftops, sidewalks, parked vehicles. Patterns. He searched for broken patterns. Then his radio clicked. Mercer, flagged van moving. His pulse slowed, not faster. Training did that. Direction. Heading southbound. Parallel street to convoy path. Mercer's brain ran scenarios instantly. If hostile intercept attempt possible. If surveillance information gathering. If distraction real threat elsewhere. He spoke calmly. Do not engage unless vehicle approaches convoy line. Meanwhile, above them, storm clouds rolled thicker. The air pressure felt heavy, like the city itself was holding tension. As the convoy turned onto the final approach road, Mercer saw something subtle. Not alarming, but wrong. Crowd behavior shift. Not panic. Not chaos. But tighter clustering. People weren't spreading naturally. They were compressing inward near barricade points. Command, crowd density abnormal near north pedestrian zone. Copy. Monitoring. Mercer didn't like monitoring. Monitoring meant waiting. Waiting cost seconds. Seconds cost lives. At the venue, Metropolitan Police began quietly widening civilian buffer zones. Volunteers redirected pedestrian flow gently. No alarms. No panic. Just quiet control. Inside the venue, event organizers were unaware anything was wrong. Veterans sat in prepared seating rows. Families waited near stage area. Press cameras prepared. Hope filled the room. Then Mercer's side display flashed. Thermal anomaly spike, near north entrance crowd line. Too many body heat signatures in too small a space. Possible crush risk. Or cover. Command, I recommend controlled civilian dispersal. Captain Ward responded instantly. Approved. Low visibility method. Outside, volunteers suddenly announced. Free tea and refreshments available in secondary tent area. Crowd shifted naturally. Pressure released. Crisis prevented before it began. Mercer exhaled slowly. Small victories saved big disasters. But then, his secondary channel beeped again. Van location update, stopped 2 blocks away. Mercer's stomach tightened. Waiting vehicles were dangerous vehicles. Local police visual? Mercer asked. Negative. Traffic obstruction blocking clear sight. Mercer looked at storm clouds. They were almost overhead now. Inside the royal vehicle, Catherine suddenly looked up. You feel that? She asked quietly. And looked toward the window. Yes. Not danger exactly. But tension. Years of public service built instincts too. The convoy reached the venue secure zone. Gates opened. Vehicles entered smoothly. Perimeter sealed. But Mercer didn't relax. Because threats didn't always attack where you expected. Sometimes they attacked the story. The image. The message. Inside the venue, Catherine and Anne began greeting guests. Veterans smiled proudly. Children handed flowers. Families took photos. The nation saw strength. Outside, Mercer stayed at external command post. Watching. Waiting. Listening. Then chaos nearly started. Not from attackers. From fear. A loud metal crash echoed from a nearby construction site. Just an accident. But in a tense environment. Crowds reacted. Shouting. Movement. Confusion. Mercer reacted instantly. All units, comm broadcast. Repeat, no threat. Construction noise only. Police loudspeakers repeated comm messaging. Volunteers reassured civilians. Within seconds, panic wave died. Inside venue, Catherine paused mid-conversation. She heard distant noise. Then security reassurance through comms. She relaxed slightly. But her eyes told in everything. They both knew. Today wasn't normal. Outside, Mercer finally got visual. Police drone camera locked onto the van. Doors closed. Windows tinted. Engine running. Occupants unknown. Police moving to check. Came over comms. Mercer watched live feed. Officers approached cautiously. Knocked on driver
Target
window.
acquisition
Door
confirmed.
opened.
Uploading coordinates now.
Inside.
Standing
Two
by for
civilians.
extraction.
Lost tourists using GPS wrong. Wrong area. Wrong timing. Wrong everything. Mercer closed his eyes briefly. Relief came quietly. Not dramatic. Just weightlifting. But he didn't smile. Because even false alarms taught lessons. Back inside venue, the event officially began. And stepped to podium first. Her voice steady. Clear. Experienced. Service, she said, is not measured in comfort. It is measured in commitment. The audience listened silently. Not because she was royal. Because she meant it. Catherine followed later. Speaking about community support, resilience, and unity. Her voice warm. Human. Grounded. Outside, storm rain finally began. Soft at first. Then steady. Mercer stood under security canopy, watching raindrops hit pavement. Today had tested them. But not broken them. Captain Ward spoke quietly over comms. Good work today, Mercer? He answered simply. Team effort, ma'am. Because it always was. And across London, people went home feeling safer, stronger, more united. Because sometimes, the biggest victories were the disasters that never happened. The hidden plot revealed. The rain over London fell steadily now, turning streets into mirrors of gray sky and city lights. To civilians leaving the event, it felt like an ordinary rainy afternoon. To security command, it felt like something unfinished. Sergeant Daniel Mercer stood under the command canopy outside the venue, rain tapping rhythmically against the reinforced fabric above him. His instincts hadn't settled. Not fully. False alarms didn't bother him. But patterns did. And today had too many small irregular patterns. His tablet buzzed. Secure intelligence update. He opened it instantly. His eyes narrowed. Captain Ward, he said quietly into comms. I think today wasn't the main event. Silence. Then. Explain. Mercer pulled up data overlays. Crowd density manipulation attempt. Suspicious vehicle misdirection. Anonymous internal level intelligence leak. Each one alone. Minor. Together, rehearsal. Someone was testing response time, Mercer said. Testing civilian panic thresholds. Testing communication lag. Ward didn't answer immediately. Because she knew he was probably right. Inside the venue, Catherine and moved to a private secure corridor for post-event brief transition. Security teams rotated positions quietly. Everything calm. Professional. Controlled. But noticed something in the lead officer's posture. Tension. Not fear. Focus. What aren't you saying? And asked calmly. The officer hesitated. Protocol said don't burden principals with incomplete threat analysis. But Anne and Catherine weren't typical principals. Possible security probing activity earlier today, he said carefully. Catherine exchanged a look with Anne. Not fear. Understanding. Testing weaknesses? Catherine asked quietly. Yes, ma'am. And nodded slowly. Then today was never about us. The officer didn't answer. Because he didn't have to. Back outside, Mercer continued analyzing traffic heat maps. Then another anomaly appeared. Not near venue. Near transport hub. Major civilian concentration point. Command, new pattern cluster forming near South Rail Terminal. Ward responded instantly. Police notified. No public escalation. Mercer zoomed the feed. Crowd movement again, unnatural clustering. Not panic. Guided compression. Someone directing crowd flow subtly. If panic triggered there, casualties wouldn't be from attack. They would be from fear itself. Mercer spoke calmly. Deploy additional visible police presence. Calm presence only. No sirens. No urgency signals. Just visible authority. Because visible calm prevented invisible chaos. Inside secure corridor, Catherine paused beside a window overlooking rain-covered courtyard. I used to think leadership was about making decisions, she said quietly, and stood beside her.
Monitor all.
It is.
Report any escalation.
Catherine shook her head slightly.
Deploy
It's also
units to
about
the
being
perimeter.
present when people feel uncertain. And smiled faintly. Yes, that part is harder. Elsewhere in London, unknown individuals watched news coverage from multiple screens. The event had gone smoothly. Too smoothly. One of them spoke quietly. They adapted faster than expected. Another replied. Then phase 2 must be more subtle. Back at Venue Command, Mercer's tablet buzzed again. New intelligence intercept fragment. Incomplete. But chilling. Nation must feel instability. Trust erosion more effective than direct attack. Mercer exhaled slowly. This wasn't about violence. It was about psychology. National morale destabilization. He contacted Ward again. They're not trying to hurt the Crown physically. Boss. They're trying to make people feel the Crown can't protect them. Ward responded softly. Then today failed for them. Inside, Catherine Ann prepared to depart. But before leaving they made unexpected request. We want to visit the volunteer rest area before departure, Catherine said. Security hesitated. Not dangerous, but unplanned. And added calmly. People worked hard today. They deserve acknowledgement. Ward approved after brief calculation. Low risk. High morale value. In the volunteer room. Dozens of civilians and staff stood stunned as Catherine Ann entered quietly. No cameras. No press. Just presence. Thank you for helping today, Catherine said simply. And shook hands with an elderly volunteer who had been directing families to safe exits earlier. You helped keep people calm, and told her. The woman teared up. I just did what anyone would do. And shook her head gently. No. You did what leaders do. Outside, Mercer watched security feed of that moment. And understood something deeper. Security wasn't only about stopping threats. It was about protecting trust. Meanwhile, police confirmed earlier transport hub crowd anomaly dissipated safely. No incident. No panic. Just another invisible victory. As convoy prepared to leave, storm rain began easing. Clouds slowly thinning. Mercer climbed into escort vehicle again. Tension still present. But clearer now. The enemy wasn't chaos. It was doubt. And today, doubt hadn't won. As vehicles rolled out into rain-soaked London streets, Mercer watched civilians walking normally again. Talking. Laughing. Living. And he realized, people could live without fear. Then today had been a victory. Back inside second vehicle, Catherine looked out rain-streaked window. We can't control storms, she said quietly. And nodded. No. But we can help people feel safe walking through them. Convoy disappeared into
late,
evening
Grandma.
traffic.
Let's head home.
And somewhere in the
Yes,
city,
dear. Thank you for being
plans
here.
were already
Always.
changing. Because today proved something dangerous to those who wanted chaos. The nation was stronger when it stood together. The moment truth stepped into the light. By early evening, London's rain had softened into a mist, thin, ghost-like, clinging to streetlights and glass buildings. From the outside the city looked calm. But inside security networks across London, every system was fully alert. Not in panic. In preparation. Sergeant Daniel Mercer sat inside the mobile command vehicle, reviewing intelligence streams that were updating faster than analysts could fully process. Patterns were connecting now, and they painted a clearer picture. Captain Ward's voice came through secure line. Multiple coordinated digital misinformation spikes detected. Mercer closed his eyes briefly. Of course. Not just physical disruption attempts. Narrative disruption. What kind of misinformation? Mercer asked. Ward replied. Claims security lost control earlier today. Claims of hidden injuries. Claims of concealed evacuations. Mercer exhaled slowly. None of it was true. But truth moved slower than fear. Across social media platforms, false clips and edited footage began spreading. Crowds running without context. Loud construction noise, framed as explosion audio. Blurry images, labeled as security failure.
Okay, team, confirming
Mercer
sections.
spoke quietly.
North section clear, 210
They're trying to
South
rewrite
is good,
today.
no issues.
Ward
East clear,
answered.
west secure.
Yes. And if people believe it, trust erodes. Inside the moving royal vehicle, Catherine reviewed a tablet summary of public online reactions. Some messages supportive. Some worried. Some confused. And noticed her expression. Bad. Catherine shook her head. Not bad. Just fragile. And nodded. Public confidence always is. Catherine looked out window at London streets. People still walking normally. Shops still open. Life still moving forward. They didn't break anything today, Catherine said quietly. And replied. No. So now they'll try to make people think something broke. Meanwhile, intelligence teams worked around the clock. Tracing misinformation origins. Signal analysis. Bot activity clusters. Coordinated release timing. Then, breakthrough. Ward's voice returned, sharper now. We have origin clusters traced to coordinated foreign and criminal hybrid networks. Mercer leaned forward. Motivation. Destabilization through perception warfare. They didn't need explosions. They needed uncertainty. Because uncertainty spread faster than fear. Back at Windsor, senior advisors prepared emergency public communication strategy. But Catherine made a request. Unexpected. I want to speak tonight, she said. Advisors hesitated. Not because it was dangerous. Because it was powerful. And supported immediately. Yes. Direct communication stabilizes faster than statements. Security reviewed risks. Minimal. Message impact, potentially massive. Within hours, a controlled live national broadcast was arranged. Simple setting. No dramatic stage. Just honesty. Mercer stood inside Windsor command room watching live feed preparation. And realized this moment mattered more than any physical security action today. Because this was about trust. The broadcast began. No dramatic music. No spectacle. Just Catherine standing calmly beside Anne. Catherine spoke first. Her voice steady. Human. Real. Today, many people worked quietly to keep our communities safe. Security teams, police, volunteers, medical staff, and ordinary citizens who helped each other. No mention of threats. No mention of panic. Just focus on unity. And followed. A strong nation is not one that never faces challenges. A strong nation is one that faces them together, calmly, clearly, and with trust in each other. Across the country, people listened. Not as subjects. As citizens. Social media tone shifted slowly, then rapidly. Support messages overwhelmed misinformation. Mercer watched data dashboard in real time. Negative narrative spread dropping. Trust sentiment rising. Ward spoke quietly beside him. They just neutralized a national-scale psychological operation, with calm honesty. Mercer nodded. That's leadership. Elsewhere in the city, those who had planned instability watched the broadcast too. And realized something frustrating. You can't easily destabilize a nation that trusts itself. Later that night, Catherine Anne walked briefly through Windsor courtyard. Rain finally stopped. Clouds breaking apart. No victory speech, and said softly. Catherine smiled slightly. No victory needed. And nodded. Because the real victory is when people feel safe enough not to notice. Back inside, Mercer filed final security report. Status. No casualties. No panic events. No public harm. Psychological stability maintained. He closed the report and sat back. Exhausted. But proud. Not of himself. Of everyone. Because today proved something powerful. Leadership isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It is steady. Consistent. Present. And sometimes, the greatest battles are the ones no one sees. The legacy that strengthened a nation. Morning returned to Windsor Castle with quiet sunlight breaking through the last fragments of storm clouds. The world had moved forward. But something subtle had changed. Not visible in headlines. Not measured in reports. But felt, quietly, across the nation. Inside the Royal Guard briefing hall, Sergeant Daniel Mercer stood with his unit as Captain Ward delivered final operational summary. No direct attacks occurred, she said. No civilian harm. No loss of infrastructure. No panic incidents. She paused. But yesterday will still be remembered. Not as a day of fear. As a day of steadiness. Mercer felt that settled deep in his chest. Because security work was strange. When you did everything right, nothing happened. And nothing happening meant everything worked. Across the country, news coverage reflected something unusual. Not drama. Not crisis. But unity. Morning shows interviewed volunteers from the event. A young student who helped guide families to safe exits. A retired veteran who stayed to calm anxious civilians. A nurse who treated minor injuries during crowd confusion. None of them called themselves heroes. But the nation did. Inside Windsor, Catherine reviewed the morning reports. Public confidence numbers rising. Community engagement messages flooding in. Veteran Foundation donations increasing. And entered carrying tea. Public response? She asked. Catherine smiled softly. Stronger than before. And nodded knowingly. Adversity reveals character. Catherine looked toward the window overlooking castle grounds. I used to think leadership meant protecting people from storms. And sat beside her. It doesn't? Catherine shook her head gently. No. It means helping people know they can walk through storms, together. Meanwhile, Mercer conducted final security pattern reviews from previous day. No remaining threat signals. No residual anomalies. The network that attempted destabilization had shifted focus elsewhere. But intelligence teams knew something important. They wouldn't try the same method again. Because it failed. In London, life returned to full rhythm. Trains ran. Schools opened. Markets filled. Families moved through streets without hesitation. And that was the true victory. When people could live normally, security had succeeded. That afternoon, Catherine Ann made one final quiet decision. Not announced to press. Not planned for publicity. They visited a small community center that had served as temporary support station during the event. No cameras. No speeches. Just presence. Inside, volunteers were stunned to see them walk in. Catherine thanked them individually and spoke with local coordinators about improving emergency civilian guidance training nationwide. Because real leadership didn't end when cameras turned off. It continued when no one was watching. Outside the center, Mercer observed from discreet distance with protection team, watching civilians interact naturally with them. No fear. No distance. Just connection. He realized something then. The crown wasn't just symbol. It was relationship. Trust. Continuity. That evening, a final national message was released. Short. Simple. Powerful. Strength is not found in moments without challenge. Strength is found in how we stand together when challenges appear. And yesterday, across our nation, people stood together. No mention of threats. No mention of attempts to destabilize. Because giving fear attention gives it power. That night, Windsor Castle stood quiet under clear skies. Stars visible again. Mercer completed final shift log entry. He paused before final line. Then typed. Public stability maintained. National confidence strengthened. He powered down terminal. Walked outside into cool night air. And for first time in 2 days, he allowed himself to relax. Across the castle grounds, lights glowed warmly in windows. Inside those walls, leaders rested. Guards rotated shifts. And history moved forward quietly. Because real history was rarely loud. It was built in quiet moments of courage. Small decisions. Steady leadership. Shared trust. Inside her private study, Catherine closed her final report and turned off desk lamp. And passed her in corridor. They exchanged a simple nod. No words needed. Because they both knew. Yesterday had not been about surviving danger. It had been about proving something deeper. That a nation built on trust cannot easily be shaken. Outside, the wind moved gently across castle towers. No storm left. Only quiet strength. And across the country, people slept peacefully. Not because they were told everything was safe, but because they believed it was. And sometimes, belief is the strongest shield a nation can have.